KABC.
In uncertain times, the value of gold remains a steadfast promise. At Tangible Investments, they understand the importance of secure and wise investing. For over 40 years, they've built a reputation as one of the most trustworthy and reliable gold dealers in Southern California. Their experts have decades of experience and will ensure you receive not only the best advice, but also the best prices that often outshine the competition. They pride themselves on transparency, integrity, and providing a service that aligns with their shared American values. Whether you're diversifying your portfolio, safeguarding your family's future, or investing in a legacy, Tangible Investments will guide you every step of the way. Don't wait. Secure your peace of mind today with gold from Tangible Investments. Visit the website at 790gold.com. That's 790gold.com. Give them a call. 888-504-2422. 888-504-2422.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you gotta hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works for both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
And good morning, Southern California. Welcome to another edition of the Workers' Rights Radio Show with attorney Robert Ozeron and myself, Steve Appel. Robert and I have over 40 years of experience in workers' compensation, employment, and labor law. 310-999-9989. That's 310-999-9989. The law offices of Robert Ozeron. The phones are open now if you want to call or text and get a completely free, no obligation consult. And before I introduce attorney Robert Ozeron, we thank you, you new listeners, you continuing listeners, for your support. We realize that you're probably in your car, on your way to church, maybe going to brunch, family with friends. We thank you very much for your support. And now it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce the man himself, attorney Robert Ozeron. Good morning, Robert. How the heck are you doing?
I'm doing well, Steve. Good morning to you and all of our faithful listeners here talking workers' rights in California.
Robert, when I need to go get drugs, and I do mean drugs, I go these days to CVS Pharmacy. I would think a lot of our listeners, when they need drugs, legal drugs of course, they go to CVS Pharmacy. Our first story has to do with CVS Pharmacy, believe it or not, Robert. A class action lawsuit filed under the Private Attorney General's Act, otherwise known as PAGA, in Los Angeles County Superior Court by a former employee of CVS Pharmacy claims that CVS Pharmacy, have I said it enough yet, Robert? They failed to pay overtime, altering timekeeping records, and more. Plaintiff Suzanne, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Shortorbani, claims the nation's largest pharmacy retailer regularly required employees to perform work tasks before and or after their work scheduled shifts and during off hours, meal breaks, and or during rest breaks due to understaffing and unreasonably high workloads without being properly compensated. Robert, we've been talking about this forever on the show. Meal breaks, rest breaks, stress at work. Why don't you take some time and talk about not only CVS Pharmacy, but being mistreated at work? Ladies and gentlemen, attorney Robert Ozeron.
Oh, Steve, thank you. Yeah, for our listeners, sometimes...
I don't think we need to re-record that. I think I did a pretty good job.
I liked it. I think you did a great job. And really working the sound effects boards nowadays. But go into the mistreatment of employees, because when I see a big class action like this, claiming rest and meal breaks, claiming that people had to perform duties before they were clocked in, so this starts to add up. If you take 10, 15 minutes every day to perform extra work and you're not getting paid for it, by the end of the week it's an hour 15, by the end of the month you're talking 5 hours. So you start to really accumulate a lot of unpaid wages. Now, I am a workers' compensation attorney. That's a work injury attorney. But for the uninitiated here, for the first-time listeners, remember, workers' compensation and employment law are two different areas of law. These are different buildings that are across the street from each other, usually, the different courthouses. And in the workers' compensation arena, where I practice, there is no fault associated with any injury you may have sustained while you're working. Now, that includes psychological injuries, like not being paid. So if you are stressed out because you continually feel shortchanged, you're not getting your rest and meal breaks, they're asking you to do job duties that are not something that you originally agreed to do, but now you feel pressured. All of those psychological injury claims are covered under workers' compensation. Now, mind you, workers' compensation is not a traditional lawsuit. It is an application. That means you're an applicant. That's different than the big employment civil courthouse across the street where there's a jury. There you'd be classified as a plaintiff. So here we have applicants and there we have plaintiffs. Now, the same events could lead to both types of cases. The big class action lawsuit where you can win millions of dollars because they are at fault. And then also those same facts could be overlapping with the workers' compensation case. In my office, we often get referrals from employment law attorneys where somebody is alleging overtime violations, they haven't been paid their rest and meal breaks, they haven't been paid their paycheck on time, and the employment law attorney will reach out to me and say, is this a case that you can take, Robert? And I will work with them because, yes, it is a case I can take, and mind you, I charge much less than the employment lawyer. So these are hybrid style cases where you have both areas of law, both buildings that you could bring a case in. And just because you brought a civil case, as we say, where you may have had a verdict in your favor, or more likely than not, you simply settled it, it doesn't matter. You can still bring your workers' compensation case because your release, your general release that you sign in those employment law cases, they don't close your option to open a workers' compensation injury case with the psychological damages. Not only that, Steve, I mean, you know that when people call my office and they say, well, I haven't been paid my wages, can you help me? And I refer them over to an employment law attorney that I work with who handles past wages. When we start to talk to them and we say, well, are you stressed because of that? They'll say yes. Well, are you having any other issues related to wear and tear on the job? High blood pressure, headaches, walking around, standing at CVS as a cashier, my neck hurts, my back hurts, I have carpal tunnel in both my wrists, right? You start to open up a can of worms, really.
And speaking of opening up a can of worms, we got to take 30 seconds and just say you're dialed into the Workers' Rights Radio Show with attorney Robert Ozeron and myself, Steve Appel. Robert and I have over 40 years of experience in workers' compensation, employment, and labor law. 310-999-9989 law office is Robert Ozeron. Phones are open now. If you want to call or text to get them completely free, no obligation consult. Right now we're talking about CVS Pharmacy class action suit, talking about someone, a shift supervisor, was employed in 2007, terminated in March 2004. She's got a 19-page PAGA complaint indicating that CVS Pharmacy failed to furnish accurate itemized wage statements, failed to notify employees of paid sick leave, failed to reimburse employers, and basically a bad place for her to work. Back to you, bro. Even though she worked there for
2007 through 2024.
Yeah.
All right, so if we're talking about an hour, 15 minutes every week, and you're going to go for, 15 years almost, 14 years? You're
I think, though, the statute of limitations on those lack of meal breaks and lunch breaks is 3 years on a PAGA suit, I think.
Yeah, we have an employment lawyer we work with to have these exact exact timelines because you can actually bring things back if there's a new violation.
And he's coming on the show as a guest when, Robert?
Well, listen, if any of the listeners think that they may have rest, meal breaks, psychological injury cases, physical injury cases, I'm going to give a plug right now. 310-999-9989. You can call me or you can just text me. Say, Robert, I used to work at this old job. They didn't pay me my wages. I was stressed. I have all these other issues. 310-999-9989. I don't charge anything for a consult. You call me, you can talk to me directly or a member of my staff, tell them what's going on, and we'll tell you right there if you have a case. And as you know, Steve, if you sign up with me and we're successful, first, I never charge a penny up front. And then second, if we win, when we win, because we win very high percentage number of our cases, 15%, 1.5 is my attorney fee. That's the lowest.
And
in the entire
every
state of
single
California.
dime that Robert gets you is?
Tax-free, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
But I want to give a quick,
How you doing, Joe?
Okay.
You okay, Joe? You're kind of tired.
Yeah, Mom, I haven't been sleeping a long time.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, not.
Wish you luck. Wish you well, Joe.
No jury in the courtroom and no TV cameras.
Correct. So if you have carpal tunnel from typing on the keyboard or just standing around, there's insurance for that. And it's directly with insurance.
Joe, you're a good person. Very nice person, okay? Joe, kind person.
We will work hand in hand.
Joe, you're a very kind person, okay?
More efficient process to investigate the civil claim as well as the workers' comp claim. The workers' comp claim, the reason
Chevron and straight to work, okay, please.
there is no jury, it's
Joe.
just the judge. You know, they have to decide whether you're going to work at least 1% on the physical aspect or not. That's a very low threshold. But there's no pain in suit, so there's no $1 million where there is the big price across the street. So you have a lower burden of proof. There's no fault. 1% on these physical injuries are related to the committing case. But then there's stuff you see on the news. So call my office. We can definitely direct you. That we don't charge you a penny up front, and we handle all work-related injury cases, including psychological injury, including for cases against employers that aren't even in business anymore. So you can go back in time much more than the civil courthouse, where if you make one mistake, your case can be thrown out, and then that's it. Workers' comp is not really like that. Workers' comp is a benefit delivery system for injured workers.
An expedited
Your person is so done.
delivery system.
Which should be, but of course, this is most of the time. The insurance company has their own attorney. People listening here, they call my office, 310-999-9989, or they text me, 310-999-9989, and you have your video attorney. Well, of course, the insurance company's going to have their own attorney. And yes, we do know each other. We do business all the time together because workers' compensation is a smaller,
Hey, hold on.
leaner
I don't think you know.
Not
You're-
the
you're
big,
okay.
like the big courthouse across the street.
Okay, it's 1 block up.
We know the judges.
Yeah.
But it's
So
that type of
it's-
system. You want to have people start experience with everything every day. It's not just the one area of law they practice in their area. It's their primary practice, which is what it's like for me. So 310-999-9989. Call me or text me. I'm happy to talk to you. Consult you. Show you. Tell me if you have a case. And show you an attorney if you have any other wage claims on something.
You're dialed into the Workers' Rights Radio Show. Don't go away. Be right back with attorney Robert Ozeron and myself, Steve Appel.
It's good to see you, son gun. Joe, you okay today?
Yeah.
What time to get up?
Yeah. That's usually early. I mean, yeah, I don't really sleep at all. Yeah, it's always something going on. Yeah. Oh yeah, those fireworks too. Yeah.
And we're back on the Workers' Rights Radio Show with attorney Robert Ozeron and myself, Steve Appel. said, no. We're upholding the lower court ruling that said Uber failed to show that the 2020 state law known as Assembly Bill 5 unfairly singled out app-based transportation companies while exempting other industries. Robert, I think we got less than 60 days left for the United States Supreme decision regarding Uber, Lyft, Postmates, and the gig economy. And now, maybe it's 1.2 million people in California that are in the gig economy, right?
The door slam. How many times do I have to tell you? No door slam.
When someone goes to the emergency room, they're going to use their private insurance, right? All of these costs are going to be passed off onto somebody. The only question is who. Now, when you're an employee in California and you have these injuries, there's private workers' compensation insurance to cover these injuries, right? We have a specialized type of insurance. The issue is this. When they misclassify you, they say that you're an independent contractor, not an employee, therefore you're not entitled to any benefits. Well, all of the rights that employees have worked so hard, hundreds of years, to obtain in California and across the nation are just gone in an instant because you're not an employee, so you don't have any rights. That means we can terminate you at any time for any reason, right? Even if it's arguably a discriminatory reason, racism, sexism, gender-based stuff. Right? It doesn't matter because you're not an employee, you're an independent contractor. Well, the courts have regularly rejected that with Uber and Lyft and all the other Grubhub and gig economy things because the issue is that of control. That's the real issue. It's not the paper that you sign that says, I swear I'm an independent contractor. The judge may look at that and may think, okay, I'll give it some consideration, some weight. But overall, the judge is going to look at a number of factors, and this is what we're going to look at to decide if somebody's an independent contractor and they're not entitled to any benefits, or they're an employee and they're entitled to workers' compensation benefits. It's a control
There's nothing
test.
there.
The factors are like this. Who controls the pricing?
Okay, here we go.
Where is the work performed? Who provides the tool? Who decides how much to charge? These are all individual items you can look at, and I can name a whole bunch here, but
Who provides the clients?
of course, who does the advertising to obtain the clients, correct? Right, and in the Uber case, let's be honest here, come on. You can't even give the person cash. Uber holds all the money, and you're telling me that now they're somehow not the employer of the driver? You never even pay the driver, you pay Uber, and then Uber pays the driver, and then they say that, oh, well, you're actually not an employee the moment you get hurt. And then they go to their private health insurance, or they don't have health insurance after a car accident, God forbid, and they have these huge medical bills. And then you and I, the taxpayer for California, the federal taxpayer, we're a private health insurance plan. So that's who's going to pay for this all. So it's a racket, allegedly fraud.
We'll get into the racket and the alleged fraud in a moment. You're dialed into the Workers' Rights Radio Show with attorney Robert O'Sron and myself, Steve Snell. Robert and I have over 40 years of experience in workers' compensation, employment, and labor law. 310-999-9989. That's 310-999-9989. The law offices of Robert O'Sron. You can call or text and get a completely free, no obligation consult. Back to you, Robert.
Yeah, so I bring cases against all the time. And thus far, they have all settled in my client's favor. Now, there is a kind of holding pattern because Uber is hoping that Prop 22 is going to be upheld. Now, mind you, Prop 22 was passed by the California voters
Sabi daw mo,
By
mister.
the way, Steve, on that media campaign.
$200 million. That was all of them. $200 million.
Now, the reason for that is obvious. They kept losing in court, so they took their arguments to the opinion, which is much more easily swayed, right? Less educated on the aspects of this dispute. Because many people will think, oh, I signed an independent contractor agreement with Uber, or they told me I was an independent contractor and then I signed something. I probably shouldn't even call one. No, you should. You should definitely call me 310-999-9989. Or text me and say, tell me what's going on. I'm driving Uber, I have wear and tear, right? Let's go into it. 310-999-9989. Now, Steve, we have time here. We have about Prop 22 dispute is.
Yeah, we got about 4 minutes yet.
Prop 22, remember, everybody in California voted for it, and they said, let's keep independent contractors, right? Well, that is illegal, arguably, because it's the public who decides who's an independent contractor and who's not. That is strictly within the purview of decision-making of the judge. So how can you, as a public, vote to take something away from the judge? You can't really do that. And not only that, workers' compensation was established in the California Constitution. This is workers' compensation.
The California Constitution gives the state legislature plenary power over workers' compensation, which means the state legislature can do anything they want.
Correct, it's exclusive. So, how can you decide that by vote? You can't. Now, they're basically just kind of keeping their arguments in the air as long as they can. Well, everyone else, the taxi cab companies, the auto companies, everybody played by the rules and paid insurance premiums, right? The Uber and Lyft used to be much cheaper, right? Because all the other companies were competing with them. The regular taxi cab Uber companies. When they can no longer compete with Uber because they're paying and playing by the rules and Uber is undercutting them, right? Now they've squeezed out their competition. With no competition left, now they can increase their prices again. In the meantime, they can pay $200 million of advertising. Can you imagine $200 million of advertising? If they had a good legal argument, they would have won in court, but instead they lost in court. Then the next issue in court was, can you even vote on something like this? Just because the people voted in favor of it after a $200 million advertising campaign doesn't mean that it's going to be a law. Right? You can't vote back in murder or slavery or things like that. No, it's unconstitutional on its face. It doesn't matter if you can allegedly persuade, put it that way, the public to vote.
Oh my God,
It
that is
doesn't
monstrous.
matter. It's going to be immediately thrown out by the judge. And guess what happened after these Prop 22 cases? They were immediately thrown out by the judge. I forgot the judge's name. He's out there in, was it Santa Cruz or San Francisco? Something like that.
I'm just waiting for Governor Ozeron to take a seat in the office.
Oh, no. Can you imagine the ad campaign that they were waging against me just independently? Because I've told you before that the first day in office, I would probably send them a letter saying either pay all your premiums retroactive or you're going to be arrested because it is a crime to be illegally uninsured.
You would declare a state of emergency.
I don't know about that, but nonetheless, I would enforce the law. And that's what I would only have. It's not me.
The question is, would we catch Governor Ozeron at the French Laundry?
I do have a dream job because I do love California. And I would love to fix California. Everybody would love to see their state in a better state.